back with another video. We got another reaction video. We got a Memphis. It's like a war going on. You see what I'm saying? It was a mafia type shit, and I guess they killed every op in Memphis, man. We finna get into this reaction video. Y'all know every time I drop a reaction video, we dropping bangers back to back, back to back. So I need y'all to like, comment, subscribe, and turn up my videos, man. Y'all gonna fuck with it, bro. I'm telling you, you gonna fuck with my videos, bro. Let's get into the video, bro.
The streets of Memphis have long been a breeding ground for legends and nightmares. In this turbulent landscape, a crew calling itself Trula Mafia, also known as Ape Gang, rose from the shadows. They were born in the city's unforgiving neighborhoods, an alliance of young men from different sets, Grape Street, Crips, Bloods, even Gangsta Disciples, united under one banner. Their turf stretched around Bunton Street and into historic Orange Mound, where poverty and pride run deep. According to street lore, whispered in barbershops and on porches, Trula Mafia itself emerged from betrayal, a split with former allies that turned friends into enemies overnight. One faction broke away to form a rival clique called Double R, rich and ruthless, and a bitter feud was set in motion that would soon drench Memphis in blood. The stage was set for. It began with a brazen killing at a quiet intersection. On the night of July 16, 2018, a car full of teenagers from Double R rolled up to a red light at Winchester Road in Hickory Hill. 18-year-old Malik B.G. Hollins sat in the driver's seat, unaware the Trula Mafia hitters were lying in wait. In an instant, gunfire erupted. A figure leapt from another vehicle and opened fire into BG's car, shattering the calm summer night. Bullets tore through metal and glass. BG was struck and mortally wounded, and his front seat passenger, just 17, was left critically injured. Two others in the back somehow escaped harm as the shooter sped off into the darkness. The ambush was shockingly efficient, the work of someone practiced in violence. Memphis police, under pressure to solve the murder of a teenager, moved quickly. Within 48 hours, they arrested a 17-year-old Trula Mafia affiliate, Carlos Go Crazy Lacey, during a routine traffic stop. In the interrogation room, Lacey coolly confessed to firing the shots that killed BG. By early 2019, a grand jury had indicted him on first-degree murder and a slew of related charges. The killing of BG, nicknamed Baby Grape for his ties to the Grape Street set, was an opening salvo. Trula Mafia had drawn blood, and the cycle of revenge was only beginning. Retribution came swiftly and chaotically. Trula's gunmen may have been caught, but that did little to stop Double R from retaliating. Their fury zeroed in on anyone believed to be involved in BG's murder. One target was Xavier Zay Wilson, a 19-year-old rapper and reputed Trula Mafia shooter. Zay had allegedly helped Lacey carry out the hit on BG. Just weeks after BG fell, Zay was hunted down and killed in cold blood. It was August 2018, and the young Trula hitman met the very fate he did to others. Zay's death came only a month after BG's, and on the streets people said it was payback, a message that no killer would escape justice for long. Some confused Zay's slang with another revenge plot. In the fog of war, rumors swirled that he had been responsible for a subsequent murder, which he could not have done, having already met his end. What mattered was the symbolism. Trula Mafia had lost one of his own, and blood debt was being repaid in kind. Then, on September 24, 2018, the violence escalated to an unprecedented level. Gunfire turned a peaceful Memphis apartment complex into a war zone. That night, a gathering at the Cane Creek Apartments in the heart of Southeast Memphis.
Bro, I know it's cranking in Memphis. Ain't Memphis on the murder capital, bro? Cause Memphis going crazy out there, bro. I'm talking about it's murders every time I click on YouTube. Memphis this, Memphis that, Memphis. Something always going on with Memphis, twin.
Exploded into deadly chaos. Among those present was Calitri 23 Boom, just 17 years old, and a beloved member of Double R. 23 had survived the attack that killed his cousin BG months earlier, and many believe he was plotting revenge for Zay and BG's deaths. But before he could strike, 23 and his 30-year-old father, Jesse Williams, were cut down in a hail of bullets. Witnesses described a scene of panic. What began as a fist fight among a group of girls suddenly escalated when guns were drawn. The cracker shots rang out like firecrackers, one neighbor said. A burst of violence, a brief, eerie silence, then another burst, followed by screams echoing through the night. By the time the smoke cleared, 3 people lay dead. 23 and his father died of their injuries at the hospital, along with a 37-year-old man caught in the crossfire. 2 young women were also hit, though they survived, wounded and terrified. Locals likened the carnage to the Wild West, a gunfight under the moonlight right in their backyard. In an instant, Double R had lost another of his sons, and the community was left shell-shocked. Whether 2-3's killing was a coordinated hit by Troller Mafia or a tragic eruption of neighborhood beef remains a mystery. No arrest came immediately, but on the streets, many believe this was Double R paying the price for BG's murder, a deadly tit-for-tat orchestrated by Trula's enforcers to wipe out the Holland family line. True or not, the effect was the same. The feud had spiraled into all-out warfare, claiming lives on both sides in a matter of weeks. Through late 2018, Memphis teetered on the brink. Sirens wailed through the night as families buried their children. Trula Mafia, emboldened by its early victories, yet stung by its losses, only doubled down. The gang's identity became entwined with this vendetta against Double R, and in turn, Double R thirsted for more vengeance. In the streets of South Memphis and Hickory Hill, every red light could turn into an execution ground, every apartment courtyard into an ambush site. Both crews began keeping score of the dead. It was around this time that Trula Mafia members started taunting their rivals in the most provocative way possible through music and social media. They had rappers in their ranks, and now those voices carried the gang war onto wax. One of those voices was a teenager known as D-Monte D-Money. He was young, just 16, but in Trula Mafia he had clout beyond his years. D-Money lost close friends to the feud, and he did not hesitate to mock Double R's fallen. In March 2020, on social media live and in lyrics, D-Money openly disrespected the memory of 23 Boone, the Double R member killed at Cane Creek. He sneered that he wasn't gonna let up and would continue smoking on 3-3's name, a grim slang for celebrating an enemy's death. The audacity of the disrespect sent shockwaves. Even some allies cringed. D-Money was effectively painting a target on his own back. Sure enough, retaliation found him. Not long after his online rant,
Now, I ain't gonna lie, one thing about that dissing shit, bro, like when motherfuckers get on live and troll they ops or they make a song or whatever they do, it don't do nothing but make it put more fuel to the fire than what it is, bro. You know how when you put lighter fluid to the fire, it adds up, bro. The fire get higher. That's how the ops, y'all diss y'all ops. Y'all ops gonna get mad, be like, oh, he dissing him on live, or he doing this and that. Now I'm finna go to his house. I'm finna go shoot him, or I'm finna go kill. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all just gonna. I don't really understand that shit, twin. It's just, you know. But
D-Money was set up and murdered, snuffed out before he reached adulthood. Word on the street was that Big Unc, an older gangster affiliated with Double R's circle, pulled the trigger, luring D-Money in and killing him in cold blood. Short for Uncle, known for his ruthless streak, had allegedly been brought into the fold by none other than Young Dolph's paper route rap label, a move that enraged Trula Mafia, who saw it as a betrayal. It's said that D-Money may have even trusted Unc, considering him an OG, until greed or vengeance intervened. One rumor claims D-Money tried to rob his own mentor and paid with his life. Another account holds that Unc simply executed D-Money as payback for 2-3's murder, with D-Money's public taunts sealing his fate. Perhaps both motives were true. What's certain is that by 2020...
And you gotta think about this too. When you diss your ops or you troll your ops when they die, you putting the police on you. You putting your ops on you. You putting they cousin, they bro. You putting everybody on you, bro. So you can't just be out here dissing and think nothing's gonna happen to you, bro. You can't think that. Like, motherfuckers real life be like, let me diss my ops. Like, nothing's gonna happen. The police definitely on me, so you gotta dodge 2 people, the ops and the police. You gotta make sure you don't get shit like...
Trula Mafia lost one of its rising young members in D-Money, and the bad blood with their enemies grew even thicker. Amid this relentless back and forth, certain key figures emerged in Trula Mafia, shot callers and soldiers who became central characters in the gang's saga. One was Joshua T.Z. Taylor, a man who operated less in front of the cameras and more in the shadows. TZ was respected and feared. He wasn't a loud rapper or internet bragger, but the streets whispered that he was pulling strings from behind the scenes. On the other end of the spectrum were the gang's self-styled rap artists, young men who turned their exploits into gritty verses. J Money, Trula, was one such artist, shouting out Trula World on tracks and collaborating with well-known local rappers. In fact, True Mafia's influence seeped into the Memphis rap scene in surprising ways. They dropped posse cuts with established names. One True anthem featured J Money, True alongside Big Motor, Fabo Gold, and even Kenny Money, a protege of Young Dolph's, all trading bars on a song called Insane. On another track, True rappers teamed with Moneyman Melvo to boast about their lifestyle. The lines between gangs and the rap industry were blurring. These songs were street diaries, and the lyrics held little back. When True affiliated rapper Main Op, CMO, released How We Livin', he brazenly dissed the memory of BG, basically dancing on his grave in rhyme.
See what I'm saying? Like shit like that, bro. Like what do you not expect your ops to come and find you, or the police come and find you when you do shit like that? It's just a real question. Because what's the point of doing, like, they dead, bro? What's the point? I don't see the point of dissing somebody that's dead already. They dead. What more do you want them to do?
The music. It was provocation set to a beat. The response to these musical taunts did not stay on wax. It came with gunfire and indictments. Not long after flexing in his song, Main Op Mo allegedly shot up a rival's house. Not once, but twice in the span of a week. Bullets riddled the walls where family members slept. Amazingly, no one was killed, but it was enough for police to act. Mo was arrested and hit with a staggering 7 counts of attempted murder, among other charges. His arrest was proof that law enforcement was beginning 7 counts, but it was enough for police to act. Mo was arrested and hit with a staggering 7 counts of attempted murder, among other charges. His arrest was proof that law enforcement was beginning to take the True Mafia war seriously. In fact, by 2020, the gang unit had started watching music videos and Facebook feeds almost as closely as they watched the streets. The mayhem was becoming too public, too brazen to ignore. Even as some Trula figures found notoriety through musical violence, others became cautionary tales. Big Scar, a Memphis rapper who for a time ran with Double R, knew firsthand how ruthless Trula Mafia could be. Scar had actually grown up around Trula members. He was even friendly with them in his early years, but when he cast his lot with Double R, he became a prime target. In the summer of 2020, just as Big Scar's rap career was taking off, gunmen opened fire on him and his crew in a drive-by attack. The ambush left Scar and 3 others bleeding on the pavement, lucky to be alive. One of those hit was Scar's friend, Quez Ruthless, who later recalled the surreal scene. Scar came banging on the door at 5 in the morning, fresh out of the hospital after emergency surgery, grinning about having signed a deal with Gucci Mane, all while Quez and the others were still bandaged up from bullet wounds. The message from True Mafia was unmistakable. They didn't care if you got $1 million contract or a gold record. Betray them and they would come for your life. Scar carried the scars of that night. His very rap name was partly inspired by a long scar from a previous injury. He escaped with his life, but many of his associates did not. The gang war had a way of catching everyone in its crossfire, superstar or not. By late 2021, True Mafia's feud with Double R had morphed and entangled with other beefs in the city. Allegiances shifted like sand. Some True members felt betrayed when their old associates teamed up with famous rappers from the other side. The underworld politics grew ever more complex. Through it all, CEO Teezy remained a central figure, seldom seen yet ever present. He was rumored to be the glue holding True Mafia together, a strategist coordinating moves quietly while the younger apes ran wild on the front lines. Teezy's name was even floating in the background of a high-profile murder investigation that had the whole city talking, the details of which were splashed across headlines, though Teezy himself was never charged. If there was a shot caller in Trula, many believed it was him, but in Memphis, no one stays untouchable for long. June 14, 2023 proved that in brutal fashion. Under the searing summer sun, Joshua Teezy Taylor was assassinated in Orange Mound, the very territory True Mafia once considered home turf. The hit was precise and merciless. Gunmen caught Teezy on Spotswood Avenue and pumped bullets into him in broad daylight. He was found slumped and lifeless, another victim of the violence he had helped perpetuate. The news hit Memphis like a shockwave. Teezy's death was more than just another homicide. It felt like a grim climax. This was a man who had been rumored to orchestrate murders, now murdered himself in the street. For True Mafia,
I mean, duh. If you putting out hits on people, doing this and that in the streets, you don't think they gonna come for you, bro? That, like,
was a devastating blow, decapitating their leadership. Many wondered if it was revenge at last from an old enemy, or perhaps an inside job stemming from internal betrayal. In the paranoid aftermath, fingers pointed in all directions. Was it Double R's final act of retribution? A power grab from within Trula's own ranks? Or fallout from the gang's entanglement in that famous rapper's murder conspiracy, tying up loose ends? The truth remained elusive. But the timing was chilling. Just over a year earlier, the world had watched in disbelief as Memphis rap legend Young Dolph was gunned down inside Makita's Cookies on Airways Boulevard. The shooter was later identified as
that shit was lame as fuck what they did.
Justin Johnson, better known in the streets as Straight Drop, a rapper with close ties to Trula Mafia and its affiliates. Though the gang never officially claimed involvement, many believe Dolph's killing was deeply rooted in the same web of neighborhood beefs and underground.
Damn, I forgot they had got like 35 years just for doing some dumb shit like
rivalries that had already taken so many lives. Once Straight Drop was arrested and charged, attention from the feds intensified. Trula Mafia, once seen as a local clique, now found itself in the national spotlight, and for CEO TZ to be gunned down not long after in the heart of their own hood felt less like coincidence and more like the final chapter of a story that had been unfolding for years behind the scenes. What was clear was the imagery: a gang boss cut down, his body covered by a sheet on the sidewalk. As police lights flashed, the once fearsome Trula Mafia looked suddenly vulnerable. Over the years, the toll of this gang war has been staggering. Graves and prison cells now hold many of the young men who once called themselves apes and terrorized Memphis. After a lengthy trial, Carlos Go Crazy, Lacey, the trigger man who killed BG at the red light, was convicted and sent to prison, effectively for life. Zay and D-Money never lived to see 20. Big Scar died young too, not by a bullet, but from an overdose. His short life marked by violence nonetheless. Dozens of others have been indicted or jailed on charges linked to the feud. Weapons, assaults, attempted hits. A multi-agency task force, seeing the carnage spill into the open, began cracking down on Memphis gangs with federal indictments and sweeps. The authorities came to recognize names like Trula Mafia, Double R, and others from the drill rap lyrics that had gone viral. Courtrooms started hearing translations of gang slang and Instagram threats as prosecutors built cases to stem the bloodshed. The FBI and ATF joined Memphis police in an effort to dismantle the worst of the Warren crews, hitting them with drug trafficking stings and weapons charges when murder charges.
That's the end of the video, bet. Y'all young niggas stay out the streets, man. All this shit is stupid, dumb, it's not fun, it don't make sense.